10. Write a last will and testament. A last will and confirmation is an authoritative record you can use to assign what befalls your property after you pass on. It can likewise incorporate the subtleties of what will befall your kids, as it empowers you to assign a gatekeeper. The exact opposite thing it does is set up an individual as your agent, which is somebody who completed your desires as they are recorded in your will. While you can think of one yourself, it's ideal to do it appropriately, which means experiencing lawful channels. There are sites online that offer administrations towards this end, yet that may not work for everybody. In the event that you have a lawyer on retainer, they can deal with it for you, yet it truly relies upon what you're deserting. For the vast majority, an online will deals with their property. However, on the off chance that you do need to set up a guardianship, or you have millions in resources, it's ideal to have a legal advisor handle your will. On the off chance that you bite the dust without one, the laws in your state will figure out what befalls your property, and it's impossible this will line up with your desires. 9. Create a master file for your loved ones. One of the most exceedingly awful things to happen to any family is for somebody who handles all the accounts to bite the dust startlingly. Not exclusively do their friends and family need to adapt to the misfortune, however they likewise wind up scrambling to take care of the tabs and shield your property from being repossessed. There's a simple answer for this issue, yet barely anybody ever does it. You have to make an ACE record of all your money-related data and keep it in a protected area your relatives will approach after you die. Because this is your most touchy data, you should store it in a fire safe in your home, and it wouldn't damage to keep a duplicate in a well-being store box too. It should comprise of the entirety of your bills, the fitting record data, a posting of your advantages, which ought to incorporate all financial balances, benefits, and other salary data. You need to ensure you don't leave your friends and family deprived after you bite the dust, so this is unfathomably significant. You ought to incorporate both a print duplicate and an advanced duplicate, which you can put on a USB thumb drive or SD card. 8. Ensure your funeral or memorial service desires are known. While you can incorporate your desires concerning the manner in which your remaining parts are dealt with after death, it's in every case best to have a discussion with somebody near you and report your desires, so they can be dealt with after you pass on. This is something a great many people consider, however it will in general spin around the decision among internment and incineration, yet there are undeniably a greater number of decisions than those two. In case you're a veteran, you have to show whether you need to be covered in a national cemetery, which incorporates the introduction of a banner by Dynamic Help individuals in most countries. If you don't need that, you have to tell somebody, so they don't expect something, and do it against your desires. There are likewise sky entombment choices, which incorporate having your remains shot up into the upper environment, where they are discharged to fall back over the planet's surface. Whatever your wants, write them down, tell your life partner or your kids, and murder off any potential equivocalness identified with your wants. 7. Create a living will and designate a medical power of attorney. While a last will and confirmation handles your property, kids, and in general home, a living will handles your individual while you're as yet alive. This is the report that says precisely what you need to happen to your body when you become debilitated. In the event that you enter a state of extreme lethargy, what should the specialists do? Would it be a good idea for them to keep you on a ventilator after mind demise, or would it be a good idea for them to pull the famous fitting? These are troublesome inquiries to respond in due order regarding anybody, so it's significant you talk about these decisions with your friends and family before keeping in touch with them. Down. A living will is an authoritative report and should be taken care of by lawful experts. You can make one online similarly as a last will and confirmation, however because of the way this is a propelled order including an infirmed individual, it must be done legitimately, which means you can't record one on a napkin and consider it daily. You additionally should assign a clinical intensity of lawyer, which is an individual you decide to represent your clinical consideration for your benefit without placing them in legitimate peril. 6. Don't forget about your pets. The vast majority have had a pet or some likeness thereof during their lives, and it's not something you quit doing as you get more established. That being stated, a great many people who are debilitated or realize they may bite the dust soon, regularly make game plans for their pets, yet shouldn't something be said about the individuals who pass on out of the blue? What befalls the little dog you simply spared from the pound or your parrot you've been raising from the egg? Creatures are treated as property under the law, which implies you have to remember guidelines for them for your will, or they could wind up being destroyed. The best thing you can accomplish for your pets is to cause uncommon courses of action in your will by means of something many refer to as a pet trust. A pet trust is a lawful domain arranging device, which gives you the choice to make an approach to think about your pet after you kick the bucket. It assigns an individual who will guarantee obligation, ask them first, and will put aside cash to assist them with thinking about your creature. In the event that you have pet protection, which you completely should, you would prefer not to trouble anybody with that cost, so plan on paying it for quite a long while, and assign the important assets in your pet trust. 5. Make plans for your digital life. Regardless of whether you understand it or not, you have a different life on the web, and there's a huge amount of data identified with it. From your internet-based life records to your pizza conveyance inclinations, there's a huge amount of information coasting around with your computerized signature connected to it. For a great deal of families, this could be their whole photograph collection, and that is a ton of recollections you would prefer not to deny your group of after you're gone. You've most likely perused accounts of families attempting to get into their expired relatives' Google or Apple account, and if the organization is willing, it's quite often an issue, yet you can get ready for it. Most organizations have a workaround you can execute to guarantee your family approaches after you pass on. Google lets you assign precisely what occurs and who approaches in the event that you don't sign onto your PC for a predefined timeframe. Along these lines, in the event that you need your mate and youngsters to approach your Google Photos account in the event that you don't sign on for 90 days, the framework will naturally give them get to. Another choice is to give them your username and secret word, yet you should change that now and again, making it unfeasible and oppressive. 4. Decide about organ donation. Organ gift is something they ask you when you get your permit or government ID re-established, and there's a valid justification for that. There will never be the point at which a medicinal services specialist will expect you needed your organs gave, which implies they must have the lawful power to strip you for parts. All things considered, you're not utilizing them any longer, so why not? Obviously, you may have a good or profound explanation behind protesting organ gift, which is splendidly fine, and you don't have anything to stress over. They won't take your organs without permission. When it comes to organ gift, there are a few alternatives you can indicate past basically checking the case that says yes on an administration structure. You can give your body to science, which implies your dead body will be given to clinical understudies for study. There are added steps to doing this, as there are private and government bodies set up to claim your remaining parts in the afterlife. This is unique in relation to giving something like your heart or kidney to somebody out of luck, so talk about these alternatives with your family, profound consultant, as well as specialist before making a responsibility. One significant interesting point is that your confidence in government or clinical network may have various meanings of what comprises passing, prompting organs being collected while you may be esteemed living by your religion. This might be the explanation that Pope Benedict XVI pulled back his agree to be an organ contributor. 3. Ensure your spiritual needs are met. This rundown is for the most part about the specialized side of life and demise, however the otherworldly side likewise needs taking care of. This segment manages the manner in which you need your remaining parts treated in death, or in the blink of an eye before passing on. On the off chance that you are Catholic and need to have a minister sorted out for the holy observance of extreme unction, last customs, you have to ensure that is known before you become debilitated. The equivalent goes for how your body is dealt with. A few religions require a body to be washed a particular way, and on the off chance that you don't demonstrate your wants toward that end, they may not be fulfilled. This is something that could be remembered for your last will and confirmation, yet it's significant, so you need to ensure you really expound. The directions for how your remaining parts will be dealt with can be broad, so ensure they were recorded and accessible for somebody to get to once you're gone. Because you're dead or kicking the bucket, that doesn't mean you never again have a voice, it just implies that your recorded words should represent you. 2. Leave a message to your loved ones. While a few people guarantee to have the option to speak with the dead, nothing is sure, and your most logical option for staying in contact won't be by pestering Whoopi Goldberg into helping you. That lone works in the films, so you will need to depend on a progressively earthbound choice when leaving a message for your friends and family. This is your chance to bid farewell, and it's something that you would prefer not to bite the dust without. Individuals who are kicking the bucket of malignant growth or some other unpleasant infection regularly have an opportunity to do this, yet sudden demise leaves your friends and family with nothing, and you don't need that. People in high-chance occupations frequently do this kind of thing, however a great many people don't consider it. All things considered, it's inconceivably hard to do, yet that is valid for most things identified with death. You ought to compose your friends and family a letter, telling them the amount you care about them, and leave them with a last farewell. You don't need to adhere to a letter, the same number of individuals pick to do this kind of thing with a video. Consider what you need to state before you record it, and when you're prepared, make your video message, and store it with your Lord document, or transfer it to an application that will convey it for you. 1. Update your information regularly. The entirety of the above data is incredible exhortation everybody ought to consider when getting ready for death, yet what occurs if it's outdated? All things considered, you need to have this stuff around for your friends and family in the event that you bite the dust out of the blue, yet since you're likely anticipating shielding that from happening at any point in the near future, you can simply put it off, isn't that so? Tragically, no. You would prefer not to put anything on this rundown off, in light of the fact that it's everything about making arrangements for death, which isn't generally something you can get ready for. Experience these means, and update them as the years progressed, and ideally, through the decades, your will can represent a long while. However, on the off chance that you have more youngsters or you're wind up having grandkids, you might need to leave something to, you're going to need to refresh it. You ought to likewise refresh your Lord record as your records and budgetary data changes. No one will be helped if all it contains is your Blockbuster video account data, so keep it refreshed. Your last messages ought to be changed now and again also, so it doesn't damage to mark the calendar each year or two for a change.